Voters in 14 states are casting ballots for Super Tuesday. More than 1,300 Democratic delegates are up for grabs today, and former Vice President Joe Biden seeing a major bounce back. He is the projected winner in 7 of the 14 states.
The expectation that Biden would do well in the Southeast has come true tonight, but the biggest delegate prizes of the evening are in Texas and in California. Polls in California are just about to close, well, 10 seconds ago, right at the top of the hour. So this map shows a live look at primary results through the evening. The dark blue, those are states which are projected for Joe Biden. The turquoise color, I guess that would be Bernie Sanders states, and we're including on this map states which have already gone over the past couple weeks or so. So it's a bit confusing, but again, Texas undecided at this point. California polls just closed there. It's likely we might not know the results of California for many more hours, perhaps a couple more days to come.
All right, let's bring in our political editor, Dennis Welch, with a look at some of the big surprises and maybe not so surprising. Biden had a lot of momentum going into today.
Yeah, I think if you go back a couple of weeks ago, this would be a big surprise. But heading into the evening, we figured the forecast showed that, Mr. Biden was going to have a good night, at least in the South, and that has definitely turned out to be the case. But here's what's really impressed me so far. It's not only that, he is winning there in the South, but the margin of victory, which is important because these are proportional delegates. They're portioned out by how much of the vote you get. When you start talking about the early big prizes, obviously later in the evening, Texas, California still out there. But in the South, traditional South, you had North Carolina with 110 delegates, and you had Virginia with 99 delegates. And if you look at that, North Carolina, you're talking about a 20-point victory almost for Mr. Biden, and almost a 30-point victory in Virginia for Biden on that. And that is a big deal because, again, with those way those delegates are proportioned, you want to win, and you want to win big. And if you're going to lose tonight, you want to try to close that gap and keep it as small as possible. Now let's talk a little bit about Bernie Sanders here. Not surprisingly, he won in his home state of Vermont, right. Big blowout victory there. But again, not many delegates at stake. He won pretty big and pretty handily in Utah. Again, a smaller delegate threshold there. He came in tonight as the leader in that delegate count. Not many had been apportioned out, but right now he is no longer the leader. The new leader tonight is Joe Biden. And another candidate that was very curious about how he would perform tonight would be Michael Bloomberg. Right. He has not done well after spending hundreds of millions of dollars. His campaign manager is now saying that they are going to reassess this campaign moving forward, and they're going to talk about that tomorrow. So what that means for Bloomberg's future in this primary, it's unknown right now. Because he finished third or a deep fourth in every state aside from the territory of American Samoa, right? Yeah, and he actually won the American Samoa, but many of these others, he will be getting some delegates because you're crossing that 15% threshold. But the kind of money that he has spent, it's just not happening for him tonight. A few weeks ago, it looked like he was surging in the polls in the deep South, but then after he started getting some attention in that last debate, last couple of debates, really, he was really the target of everybody on that stage. You could really see that his popularity was starting to take a hit. And one last note, Tulsi Gabbard did win a delegate in American Samoa. And if things stay the same and they don't change the rules, the DNC, that means she could be eligible to hit that debate stage here in Phoenix. But there's some reporting out right now early saying the DNC may change the rules that would keep her from hitting the stage here. And talk about the big disappointment tonight for Elizabeth Warren. Yeah, Elizabeth Warren, she's running third in her home state. That's unbelievable. Again, it's like, how can you continue to move forward? She's got a planned rally here in Phoenix for Saturday, but how are you going to be able to move forward? How are you going to be able to call up people and ask for money and donate to a campaign and tell them, yeah, I'm still viable, I still have a path out there, whatever that may be, when you can't win your home state? It's going to be really difficult for her moving forward from a night like this. Do you think that she might be reassessing things in the morning as well, or no word on that yet? Yeah, no word on that yet. Like I said, earlier tonight they sent out the message that that it seemed like they were going to keep pushing forward no matter what happened here tonight, because they booked Phoenix for Saturday. It's one of 3 stops in 3 different states on that day. Right. I want to talk about Minnesota just for a second, because that's a state that Biden is projected to win tonight, and it's possible that Senator Amy Klobuchar dropping out of the race, throwing her support behind Biden, propelled him to that victory tonight. I think the earlier polls were showing that Sanders was doing well in the state of Minnesota, but yeah, Amy Klobuchar dropping out and endorsing Biden there the other night. Again, typically endorsements don't matter a whole lot, but in the past couple of weeks we've seen that they have been mattering. I mean, ask Mr. Congressman Clyburn and his endorsement of Joe Biden when people in South Carolina last week were actually citing that endorsement as the reason that they voted for the former vice president and really resurrected his campaign so he can perform here like he has been tonight.
Yeah, it's amazing how one man really can make a difference, and he's getting a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, big question is how many of these candidates are going to be left when they hit the stage here on March 15th?
Good question.
You can have 3, 4 candidates on stage, or could you just have 2 big showdown maybe between Sanders and Biden?
Right. Dennis, really quickly, just to recap, the biggest state with the number of delegates, North Carolina so far, 110. Texas, to compare, has 228. California has 415. Those are the big prizes. Those are the states that are really going to matter.
Yeah,
it looks like Sanders is ahead in Texas, right?
Yeah, Sanders is winning in Texas. Last I checked, it wasn't by a whole lot. So that the delegate counts, how they're appropriated, it's not going to hurt Biden a whole lot. Now, if Sanders can go into California and blow him out there, that could be a big deal and change the math here on the race. Because at my last count before we came here into the studio was that Biden was up by 59 delegates. Now that may have changed because this is a fluid situation here tonight and what states are being called. But that right there would be a pretty significant lead heading into this. Now, California could change everything.
Yep.
And it's important for people to remember, if you don't know, that it is not winner takes all as they do on the
very
Republican
complicated,
side. So,
complicated math.
they could still, split a state and both come away with several delegates. And tonight, only representing 14 states. We've got 4 already, so there's still a long way to go in all
And that's
of this.
why, like, if you're Biden tonight, like the performance in Texas, you're probably disappointed you didn't win. You weren't expected to win, but you do want to close that gap so you can get as many delegates out of that state as possible.
And one last thought was that the results tonight, whatever happens, I mean, it looking very good for Biden. How much does that influence voters in other states moving forward?
I think it could immensely if there are a lot of strategic voters out there that want to vote for somebody they think can go ahead and win and compete in the general election. We saw what South Carolina, one state, apparently has done for Joe Biden. Again, you go back a couple of weeks ago and start looking at the reporting there and some of the polling numbers.
Right.
There were questions whether Joe Biden would be around after Super Tuesday.
Dennis, really quickly, 9:06, the Associated Press has called California for Senator Bernie Sanders, which is expected, but again, we don't know the breakdown yet.
Let's wait for the breakdown. Let's see if it's a 20, 30-point victory for him out there. I don't know if that's possible, but if it's a big blowout victory, that would be huge for Bernie Sanders tonight and kind of salvage some of the other losses that he has and beatings he's taken in some of the other states in the South.